In 2016, we're on chapter 11, section 2, and when we finish chapter 11, we'll start test review for tomorrow.
Alright, so you're doing that, right? And then right when you get up, you're in a cage. So then you sit up off the bench and grab the pull-up bar, and then max out on pull-ups. And then you gotta get down and do full, like, somebody hold your legs and you fully extend, like stand up, sit up, bench.
Alright, it's time. So let's start. So tomorrow we have an exam, and that is a 1 hour exam. I already posted the sample exam, and we'll go over that. But before we do that, we have to finish the section 11.2. So still like the probability. So the probability event involving OR. So there is also AND case. So if one number is selected randomly from the set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we want to find the probability that it will be, the part A is an odd number, or a multiple of 4. So this is OR. So there is an easy way. Probably start from the easy way. You know the OR, right? A or B. Either A or either B, right? So either odd number or a multiple of 4. That means from this that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 through 10, we're going to choose odd number. The odd number is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. These are the odd numbers, and then we're going to choose a multiple of 4. What are they? Multiple of 4.
4 and 8.
Yeah, 4 and 8 here. Then, the total set, when you get the probability, so probability of odd or a multiple of 4 is, if I say this event is E, we are going to count the number of event E, element in the event E, over the number of sample. So the total sample is the 10. That's easy, right? From 1 to 10. And then number of event E, element in the event E, so we count the circled one. 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. So how many?
7.
7 of them.
7 10.
So, 7 over 10. This is a probability. But let's go into the detail. So, on your exam, if you just write down the 7 over 10, that's fine. But let's go into the detail. So, let A be the set for the odd number. And we know that this is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Now let the B is a multiple of 4, which is the 4 and 8. Then the probability of A or B, the set A or the set B, is 7 over 10, but that 7 over 10 is the same as the following. So probability of A or B is the probability of A plus the probability of B. The probability of A is 5 over 10. And the probability of B is 2 over 10. So we got 7 over 10, right? Now for this A and B, set A and set B, there is some property or some relation between A and B. They are mutually exclusive. There is no overlap between these two, right? When there is no overlap between these two, when you find the probability of A or B, we just add them separately. We just find the probability of A plus the probability of the B. That's the probability of A or B when there is no overlap.
You would think that would be A and B to add them, not or.
Then, yeah, this is like the when there is no overlap. But many times there may be some overlap, right? So we'll discuss on the next slide. Any questions so far? Like the or, but there is no overlap case? So let's do the same thing from 1 through 10. The part B is the set is odd number or a multiple of 3. So if we count that, the odd number 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, but the multiple of 3 is counted as 3, 6, 9. Right? So the probability of odd or a multiple of 3 is the total set is 10. Total sample space is 10. Now let's count how many we have. 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9. How many?
Wait, 1,
1,
6.
yeah, 6 of them. So the probability is 6 over 10 or the 3 over 5. That's the probability. Now let's go into the detail. So let's say that set A is odd number, which is the same as before. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Now the set B is the multiple of 3, which is 3, 9. 3, 6, 9. Now we know that there is a overlap between these two, right? So there is overlap. A and B. For the AND case, we use this kind of a symbol. This symbol is AND. So A and B is the overlap between the set A and the set B. What are they? What is the overlap between the set A and 3 and 9? And these two numbers are overlap. Then when you compute the probability of A or B is the probability of A plus the probability of B. Well, let's compute the probability of A. What is that? Probability of A.
1, 3, 5, 7, 9.
So that is a 5 over 10. And the probability of B is 3 over 10. But we know that the probability of A or B is 6 over 10, right? But they are not equal to each other. The reason is there is an overlap between these two. So we have to subtract the probability of A and B, which is overlap between the A and B. That subtraction is 2 over 10. If we subtract that, they are equal to each other. Does it make sense?
Yeah. That's what I thought when you put that one, like when you put A and B, I thought you were just going to jump to that conclusion like already. It makes sense.
So let's make some kind of a general theory based on this observation. The general theory is this. Always, when you compute the probability of A or B, we actually use this. The probability of A or B is the probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of A and, this is AND case, and this is OR, A and B, which is overlap. A and B is overlap. When there is overlap, we have to subtract that probability. But when there is no overlap, there is no overlap, then we just compute the probability of A or B is the probability of A plus the probability of B when there is no overlap. So we have two formulas for the theory. So that is on the next. So mutually exclusive event, the two events A and B are mutually exclusive event if they have no outcomes in common. So basically there is no overlap between A and B. That is mutually exclusive event. Now when you compute the probability of A or B, now if A and B are any two events, then typically we assume that when there is no such kind of wording like the mutually exclusive, then if there is like no such kind of wording here, then we assume that maybe there is overlap between A and B, right? So we have the probability of A or B. Well, probability of A or B, we actually use this symbol, probability of A union B is, I want to use the red one, is equal to the probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of A and B. That is a formula, and this symbol, the U looks like a U. That symbol is a or, and this symbol is and. When they are mutually exclusive, then the probability of A, or B, which is a probability of, I can use the red one. So probability of A or B is the probability of A plus the probability of B. And that is when they are mutually exclusive. Because there is no overlap, so we don't need to count the overlap case. Any question about these two? Now let's apply this into the following example. Done? Okay. So, if a single card, the single card is like the 52 card deck, I think I showed you yesterday, right?
Yeah.
From that kind of poker card, and what is the probability that it will be a spade? That is a spade. It will be a spade or a red card. That's the So we are to compute the case, which is or spade or a red. Do they overlap, the spade and red?
Yes.
Spade. What is the color for the spade?
The spade's black.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, spade
yeah,
is black. Oh, you never played the poker.
I've had a few chances.
Spade is a black, and the red is a heart and a diamond, right? So there is no overlap. So there is no overlap means we compute the probability of each of them separately. So probability of spade or red is a probability of spade plus the probability of red. There is no overlap part. We don't need to count that because
Is it not
they never, what?
Is it not just like, since there's no overlap, is it not just like 13 over 52? 39.
No. This is a, 13 over, we use a 13 over 52. How many spades we have? That's the 13 out of 52. How many red we have?
So that'd be 39 over 52.
What is
39.
39?
No, I ain't red right now.
How many red?
No,
Red.
it's gonna be
20.
No, it's gonna be
26.
26.
right?
26?
26
26 red.
52.
We have 26 red.
Yeah,
Heart,
13.
13 heart, and 13 diamond.
Oh, the red.
Oh, yeah.
The red.
Because it's,
Red one,
it's gonna
red.
be 26.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have red, which is a 26, 13. Let's write down the 13 plus 13 over 52. Because 13 for the heart and 13 for the diamond. That's the red. So you know the card, right? I think most of the, usually the boy play the card, but not sure about the girl. So that's the 39 over 52. And we can simplify this. And if we simplify this by divided by 13, then we have a 3 over 4. What is the leftover from this probability or this combination?
13.
I mean, we only have a 3 over 4. So we exclude the club. Do we? Yeah, we only exclude the club, which is black and club. That's the only one. That black and club is 1 over 4. So from the whole thing, if we just subtract the 1 minus 1 over 4, we actually get a 3 over 4. In some sense, like a much quicker.
Wait, what was that last part? What are you doing?
This is for the club.
Oh, right.
That is a 1 over 4 is a number, like the probability of getting a club,
Okay.
club card,
Right.
which is a 1 over 4. And if we subtract the whole probability 1 minus the club case, we get the other one, which is a spade or the red. Okay, so let's continue. Now we're gonna get a diamond or face. What is a face card?
Jack, Queen, King, Ace.
Yeah,
4 pursuits, so there's 16 total.
Face is also ace.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
Not a face card?
No, ace is not a face.
The space cards are 10.
Yeah,
Ace
face is
11.
your if you can see the face, which is a
Yeah.
jack, queen, king. They have face, but not ace.
Ace
Right.
isn't counted as a royal card?
Ace is just one.
Oh.
Yeah, ace is just ace or just one.
Like if you're playing blackjack and you get a face card, it's 10, but if you get
Yeah.
an ace, it's 1 or 11, you know?
Or 11, yeah.
So it's different than the face.
You're right. You're right.
So the face is only J, K, J, Q, K. That's the face. So the diamond and the face. Is there any overlap between the diamond and the face?
Yes.
Yes, they do, because the diamond has a JQK, so there is overlap. So the probability of diamond or face is we have to compute the probability of the diamond. Oh, instead of keep writing the diamond face, let's use a letter. Let A be the whole stat for the diamond, and the B is the whole card for the face. Then the probability of A or B is there is overlap, so probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of A and B. So sometimes instead of or, I use this symbol, and instead of and, I use this symbol. So you may have to know that. So let's compute that. So the probability of A or B is, what is the probability of getting the diamond? How many are there?
13 over 52.
13 over 52. Now, how many face cards do we have?
12.
We have a 12, right? For each set, we have a 3. Now, we have 4 set. So, which is a 3 times 4 face card out of 52.
Oh, you guys don't count ace as a face card.
Ace is not.
That's what we just.
We just talked about it.
That's what
You're too busy.
I zoned out.
You're too busy taking notes over there and
I
stuff.
zoned out.
That's why I watch these videos, man. You can check it out so you don't have to do your closing.
So, the diamond and the face, how many? What are they? Diamond and the face is, I can,
20.
let me see.
25.
So, diamond and the face, these 3 are the diamond and face.
Oh, over
There is no face here,
It's just the highest card, so I thought, okay.
right? So, diamond and the face is these 3, J, Q, K. So, which is 3 over 52. That is a probability of A or B, which is a diamond or face card. If we simplify this, we got 22 over 52, and divided by 2, 11 over 26. And that is a probability. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Now let's move on. Now, there are 20 elective courses, and Emily plans to enroll in one, which she will choose by throwing a dart at the scheduled courses, and 8 of the course. So 8 of them are recreational, and 9 are interesting, and 3 are both recreational and interesting. And find the probability that the course Emily choices will have at least one of these 2 attributes. So at least, this is at least. So the set A is recreational, and the set B is the interesting. And it said there is overlap. 3 of them are overlap, right? Now we want to find the probability of A. This is at least one of these. So at least A or B. What does that mean? Is that a and B, or A or B, or A or B? What do you want to find here?
One or the other.
So what is the symbol? A? Is that a probability of A, or probability of A and B, or probability of A or B?
Or.
This means or. At least one means either A in the set A or in the set B. That's the at least one in those 2 categories, right? So this is or, A or B. So we have a probability of A, and there is overlap, as I said, minus the probability of A and B. So, what is the probability of, well, we have a total of 20. Remember that 20 is a whole space, or the sample space. And set A, the recreational is not, 8 of them are recreational. So what is the probability of A?
8 over 20.
We have a 20 is always on the bottom, right? That's the whole space, or the sample space. So 8 over 20 is the probability of choosing the A. And how about the probability of the B?
3 over.
We have a 3.
Oh, no.
It's
Sorry. 9 over.
9s are interesting, so which is 9 over 20. And there is overlap between those two, which is the AND case, which is a 3. So if we compute that, we got a 14 over 20, which is a 7 over 20. That is a probability of at least one of the two categories.
I'm just a little confused on the 3 part. Why it was -3? Because
There is a 3.
Oh.
3 courses are the both
And you have to
recreational
subtract
and
that.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we subtract that.
Okay.
Why we subtract?
Yeah.
Do you know why we have to subtract?
Why do you have to subtract the both the recreational and the interesting?
Because if not, we are counting the AND case twice.
Okay.
In the set A, we count the AND case. In the set B, we count the AND case. So, because we count it twice, so we have to subtract the 1.
The ones that we counted twice were
Yeah,
subtracted.
that's right.
So yeah, it's 14 out of 20.
Okay.
He said, what's after 14?
Any questions?
That way you know. 7%.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that is a likelihood. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Any other question? Now let's move on to here. The sample exam. The exam 2 is very similar to the sample exam and the lecture note. So we have many, which is almost, there are 40 questions. So we have to do this really quickly.
Yeah.
Now the first one is we want to simplify the given equation. The simplify is just distribute and then just make like the ax squared or the bx plus something. Those things is simplifying. So let's distribute the 2 and 5, etc. Then we have a 2x squared minus 6x plus 14 and minus 5 and 2, which is a negative 10x squared, negative 5 and negative 8x, which is a 40x, and negative 5 and negative 4, which is a plus 20. Now we have x squared term, which is a 2x squared, and negative x squared, so negative 10x squared, so which is a 2 minus 10x squared, plus we have x term, negative 6 and 40, so negative 6 plus 40x, plus the constant, 14 and the 20. So we have a negative x squared plus 34x plus the 34. That's it. That's the simplifying. I didn't say that we have to do the factorization, so that's the simplifying.
But like on the test, you said you might do this and then to ask us to factor it, or
Well, it depends on the question.
Okay.
Yeah. We may have to do the factor because when I said factor out or the factor, find the factor, then you have to. And multiply and the simplify. So 2 is outside, and we have a 2 at the outside, and distribute. That is just the distribution. So we have x squared and this, which is x squared, 2x squared, minus x squared and the 8x, which is a 8x cubed, and x squared and the negative 5, which is a negative 5x squared, and negative 7 and 2x squared, which is negative 14x squared, and negative 7 and negative 8x, which is a 56x, and negative 7 and negative 5, which is a 35. So we have x to the 4, so 2x to the 4, and x cubed, this is only x cubed, and we have x squared and x squared, so negative 5 and negative 14, so what do you get?
Negative 19.
Negative 19, and we have only one x term, and we have a 35. Now let's distribute the 2, because 2 is outside. So we have a 4x to the 4 minus 16x cubed minus 38x squared plus 112x plus the 70. pretty long. Anyway, that's multiply and simplify. Any question?
Just a second. Yeah, where did 38 come from?
Oh, there is a 2. So distribute the 2 here, 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 here. So 2 times the 19. There is a 2
So
outside.
there's a 2 outside. See,
So this times a 2.
what he did was he took the first.
Multiply it times all of it.
Yeah, but he left the 2 out, but that doesn't mean the 2 is not in the equation. You can't just erase it. So when it comes back in, he just made the multiply it back in. Like he redistributed the 2 from the beginning. You know what I'm trying to say, dude?
I got 32. I ain't get that.
Because he had to multiply it.
Yeah, I multiply the 2. Because 2, we have to distribute the 2. Distribute the 2 here and here.
16 and 2 times negative 19.
And here.
Times 50 times 35.
I guess what's confusing is you would often just multiply the outside 2 times the bracket as your first step, and this is weird where you're putting a bigger bracket around the 2 small brackets and then leaving 2 to multiply later.
Yeah, I thought it was just 2 times the first bracket.
No. The 2 is outside. The 2 is outside.
Yeah, that's why I did multiply it times the second bracket.
Because don't we normally do that? When you see an outside number in a bracket, you're going to multiply those and end up with a different set?
Well, you can do either way. You can distribute the 2 for the first, like the set.
Right,
so
right.
2x squared minus 14, and then distribute that. That's okay. That is up to you. Your choice.
Oh, okay, sure.
And we're going to factor. So find the factor. We have a 2, and there are a and a. So factor out 2 for the first 2 term, and factor out a for the second term. Then this is a y squared minus z, but this is a negative y squared plus z. Well, it looks like they are different, but if I factor out negative from the second part, which is a negative a, and this is y squared minus z, now we have a y squared minus z as a factor, and the 2 minus a. So that's the factor. The factor means we have to make this into some component times some other component. That's the factor.
You said the factor is some component, what?
Times, multiply.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a Z, not a 2.
I use a z as this, and 2 is this. There is no that kind of a dash.
Oh.
Now for this, we use the following. X minus y squared is x squared minus 2xy plus y squared. You may not see this here, but if we change the 16p squared, we can make this as a 4p squared. And 25q squared is a 5q squared. So we see a x squared and the y squared term like this, x squared and the y squared. The middle term is the 4p and 5q. What is a 4p and the 5q? This is a 20p cube, but we have a negative 2 here, like that. So we have a negative 2. So this exactly match with that formula. So this is a 4p minus 5q squared. Now we're going to factor this. So we have 4 terms, but instead of considering the 4 term at the same time, we take the 3 terms first, the first 3 first. So we have x squared minus 6x plus 9. Again, this is x minus y squared minus x squared minus 2xy plus y squared. So the first term is x minus 3 squared minus y squared. And then we use the following. X minus y, x plus y is x squared minus y squared. So we have something squared minus something squared. So we can use this. That is, we have a first term minus second term times the first term plus the second term. So this is a factor.
All right, so you factored out, you're trying to get 2 groups of parentheses, right? That's
Yeah.
what you were saying. And so when you're doing the x squared minus 6x plus 9, and you got the second one, the second line, which is x minus 3, I realize when I work all that out that that's correct. But how do you jump so quickly to that?
So we have a x squared minus 6x plus 9. You can do the factorization by using this kind of things. Like
Right.
9, negative 6, negative 3, and negative 3.
Right.
So x minus 3 squared. So if you practice and if you know that this may be factored out like that, well, how do I know that? Well, that's after the practice.
A lot of practice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of practice. So.
Yeah, I like the X thing. It kind of works, but I get a little confused if the numbers are big, trying to figure out what adds up plus multiplies to what I need.
I'll take a picture
In the old time, they usually write that on the paper by using the pen, right?
What?
And like the old time when you do the lecture and
Yeah.
when you're a student, you have to write that.
What I do is
right now, they usually take a picture and take a picture.
Well, like what I like to do is see what you do exactly, and then I try to solve it on my own. And
Yeah.
if I do it wrong, I see what you
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
But there is a really great paper, several paper, research paper about the education, and they compare the student who take the picture, and then the student who write down the lecture note, like the old tradition way. And usually, when they write down on the like the paper and by using basically the paper and the pencil, they get a better score.
Better score.
Yeah, a lot better score.
I have a problem trying to take
I'll
notes while
challenge
you're
that.
teaching because I can't look at what you're saying while I'm writing notes. I get lost in
So
what you're
what
doing.
you have to do is, well, I usually post the lecture notes, so you have to print out. That's like preparation. You
Yeah.
have to print out, and you may like a practice where you have to think about that first before you coming to the class,
Yeah.
and then you write down.
But the lecture notes don't have your work, so I have to write it all down while you're talking if I'm going to study it.
Yeah,
The
that's
picture-
a hard one, but
Yeah.
yeah, you have to practice.
Practice. Repetition is the biggest thing for learning this.
So we have something cubed, 8x cubed and some other things cubed. So we have to use like x cubed plus y cubed formula. Here minus xy plus y cubed. So I do 2x cubed plus 3y cubed. 2x cubed is a 2 cubed, x cubed, 2 cubed is 8. And 3y cubed is a 3 cubed, which is a 27y cubed. And then I can use this formula, which is 2x plus 3y times 2x squared minus 2x 3y plus 3y squared. So which is a 2x plus 3y. 2x squared is a 4x squared. Minus 2x 3y is a 6xy plus a 9y squared is a, 3y squared is a 9y squared. So this is a factorization. Any question?
Are you gonna have? You're not gonna have the formula right beside the question, are you?
No.
Probably not.
We asked him about that, but I don't think you liked it.
And it's going to be like a multiple choice one again?
Yes.
Okay.
But the test exam had drawing like graphing yourself, not multiple choice.
You'll see.
Okay.
I wish it was a little
Don't worry.
longer than that one.
So solve x squared plus 3x equals 4. Then we change the form into x squared plus 3x minus 4 is equal to 0. Now we can do the factorization. So the product is negative 4 and the sum is a 3. We got a 4, negative 1. Then we can make this as a x plus 4 and x minus 1 is equal to 0. So we get x equals negative 4 or x equals 1. And these are the solution. Or we can use the quadratic formula, which is x equals negative b plus minus radical b squared minus 4ac over 2a. If you use that, you still get the same thing, negative 4 and plus 1. So it is your choice. You can use either one.
And so the word solve means
Just solve means get x value.
yeah, find the x value.
Any question? A building is 400 feet high, and suppose there is a ball and project upward, and its position S is given as s equals negative 16t squared plus 40t plus 400. And we're going to find the t such that we're going to find the t, how long? Basically, we're going to find the t such that the height is 200 feet above the ground. So, this is a building. And it is a 400 feet. Well, I think I have to make a slightly smaller thing. So, this is a 400 feet building, and it draw a ball here. Just upward, not like that, this kind of the way, but the upward, and then because of the gravity, it basically falls down. And we're going to find the time t such that it is a 200 feet from the ground. And that time is what we need. Does it make sense in the graph?
Yeah, but you would honestly need to know the trajectory that the ball left and the force behind it to see how high it goes when you throw it.
That's the equation.
That is a given here. S equals negative 16t squared plus 40t plus 400. That's the given. And this S is the position with respect to time. And we're going to find the time t such that this is 200. So we are solving this. That's what we need. I do not ask you to find what is S. No. Because you have to take the second class, which is a differential class. Like take the derivative and take the integral. Then you can get S is this. Before you do that, I'm not going to ask you that, so don't worry. So we have if we simplify this, so move everything, because this is a negative 16t squared, so move everything to the right hand side. Then the 0 is 16t squared minus 40t plus 200 minus 400, which is a 16t squared minus 40t minus 200 is equal to 0. And we can simplify this. We can divide it by 8. Divide it by 8, because all terms have 8 as a factor. So divided by 8, we have a 2t squared minus 5t minus 25 is equal to 0. So we can do the factorization, or we can use a quadratic formula. That is your choice. I'm not going to go over the factorization. So this is 5 minus t, 2t plus 5 is equal to 0 when you do the factorization. As I said, you can use a quadratic formula. It doesn't matter.
Wait, what's that formula? Quad?
This one.
All right, yeah, no, I don't like that. The X. What do you call that? X?
Yeah, that is x.
Now, what do you call the big X formula? Using that?
I don't know. There is no name.
No name, the no name formula.
Yeah.
All right.
So we have to choose either t is a 5 or t is negative 2.5. Which one is that?
It's got to be 5.
Yeah, it should be a positive, right?
Unless you can go back
Because
in
that's
time.
the time. And negative 2.5 is actually goes back like that. That's the negative time. Any question?
So the answer there is just,
5 seconds.
yeah, what's that, X or Y? Or no, T. T for 5.
Well, let's think about the following. So, let's see that we want to find the time t such that the ball hit the ground. What will be the equation when it hit the ground?
0.
What?
0.
Yeah, 0. This is a 0, or S is a 0. That's the time when the ball hit the ground. Then you solve the time t. And that's the time. Now we want to determine the center and the radius of the circle of the given equation, x minus 3 squared plus y minus 5 squared plus 9. And we want to graph the circle. The center is, we set this inside is 0 and this inside is 0 and this is r squared. So what is the center? We want to get the x and y value for the center. X minus 3 is equal to 0. What is x value?
No, 3.
3. Y minus 5 is equal to 0. What is y value?
5.
5. So the center is 3, 5. Now r squared is 9. So what is r?
3.
Plus minus square root of 9, which is a plus minus 3. But we only take the positive for the radius. So the radius is a 3. And the center is 3, 5. So if we draw that, three, 5 here, and the radius is a 3. This length is actually the 3. So we circle that is a circle. You can do better. Yeah, right? You can do better than me, so for the drawing. Any question?
Can you tell me just again how the radius was 3? I understand r squared, but why is r 3 again?
R squared.
R squared is a 9. This is R squared.
Okay.
That is R squared part, the constant.
Okay.
That is a 9 means R is a plus minus square root of 9, which is a plus minus
okay.
square root, well, 3 squared. So we got a plus minus 3, but R should be positive only, so
Okay.
which is a 3.
Why do you keep putting the plus minus in there? Where's that coming from?
No, that is always. When you solve the x squared,
Uh-huh.
when you solve x squared equals a, we always say that x equals plus minus square root of a.
So it can be either.
Yeah, because it can be either.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Plus 3, when you do the square for the plus 3, we get a 9. For the negative 3 square is also 9. So we have 2 values. And that is a hard part, I know. So we want to determine the center and the radius. To determine that, we have to make the form into this way. X minus something squared plus y minus something squared equals r squared, right? So we have to make this into x and something squared plus y and something squared equals r squared. We have to make that, which is like a complete square format. So to do that, we group the x term, which is x squared minus 4x, and y term, which is y squared plus 6y, and minus 10 is equal to 0. Just rearrange and group the x term and the y term together. Now we do some algebra. So we need some constant here to make the complete square. That constant is, take this number which is a negative 4, and divided by 2, and square that. So negative 4 over 2 is a negative 2. Negative 2 squared is a 4. Now we add 4. So to keep the same equality, we subtract the same number, negative 4.
Well, explain that one more time.
So we want to change this form into the complete the square, x minus something squared. To do that, if this is like the a, then this is x squared minus 2ax plus a squared. We need a constant to make the complete the square. So we have to make the constant. To make that, we add, but we also have to subtract because we have to keep the equality. So to determine this constant, as you can see here, take this number, which is a negative 2a, and divide by 2 and square that, which is a negative a squared, which is the same as just a squared. So take this negative 4 and divide by 2 and square that. This number is what we need. And then subtract the same number.
So can I just still think of it in my mind as just taking that number like and just putting it
What did you say?
like can I just think of it in my mind of just like that step in the middle where you have the color green, can I just move the negative 4 over and just say like minus 4 to complete the square? Will that work every time?
No, it's supposed to be 0. Your goal is to get 0 there, right?
Because when we add and subtract, we got a 0, right? So I didn't change any. I just manipulating the equation itself.
Alright. I'll just follow you. Just keep going.
And then we do the same trick. So take this plus 6 and divide by 2 and take the square, which is a 3 square. So when I add to keep the equality, I subtract the same number 9. 3 square is a 9, so subtract the same number 9. Then this and this will be the complete square format. So the first component is x minus 2 squared. How you got a negative 2? This number, which is negative 4 over 2, is right here. And negative 4 is just there. So negative 4 plus, and y. For that number, we take this 6 over 2 and plug in, which is a plus 3 square, and negative 9, negative 10. So if I rearrange this, so this is x minus 2 squared plus y plus 3 squared, and negative 4, negative 9, and negative 10, which is negative 23. And move negative 23 to the right hand side. So x minus 2 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 23. So that is the equation for the circle in a very nice format. Now we're going to find the center. What is the center? Set this is equal to 0 and this is equal to 0. What do you get here?
Negative 2 or 3. Comma 3.
Negative 2, positive 2,
Oh, yeah.
and negative 3. And the radius r is the square root of this number, which is the square root of the 23. Any question?
So even though 23 doesn't have a perfect square root, it's still the answer. You just put the square root symbol
Yeah,
over it.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
But if it was a perfect square root, you would just put like
Yeah.
5 if it were
Yeah,
25.
that's right.
Yeah.
Any question?
What section is that again? Like what section is this in? this type of problem?
I think as either section 7.6 or 7. 7.7 or 7.6.
Because I
And we're going to write an equation of the circle with the center at negative 1,3 and the radius is 4. So if we have a x square, x plus something square, and y plus something square is r square. And it said that the radius is 4. So radius is 4 means the r is 4, right? So we have r squared as 16. And the center is a negative 1 and 3. So do we have to add, do you have to put the negative 1 and the plus 3 here? Or do we have to put the positive 3, positive 1 and negative 3 here?
You're trying to get them to equal 0, is that the point?
Yes, right. We have to set that this is equal to 0 is a solution of that, which is a negative 1. So that means what?
That's impossible.
That means we have to make this as a positive and this is a negative. And when it's set this is equal to 0, that is x equals negative 1. When it's set that this is equal to 0, then y equals 3. So we have negative 1,3 as a center. So it is actually the opposite sign of this one. So that is the equation. This is a 16. Any question?
So if it just says, I'm just confirming, like it says, so if it just says R for, like if it tells us the radius straight up,
Yes,
and
right.
when we put it into the equation of the circle, we have to square it.
Yeah, that's right. You have to square that because that is r squared.
But if it were to say, like, all you said was here are the points, and it just said R squared 4, then would it be 2?
Normally we don't say that.
Okay, I just didn't
Yeah.
know, like.
Normally we don't.
And you won't give us something that can't be squared, right? You're not going to give us like square root of 23 as radius. If that were true, you would just write that exactly, right?
If the r is if I say the radius is a square root of 23,
That's the
then
answer.
you have to put the r squared, which is a 23 here.
Oh, wait.
You have to put the r squared,
Yeah.
not the r. So you have to square that, which is r squared is a 23. So you have to write down the 23. Always, this is r squared, not r. So you have to square for the given radius r. It doesn't need to be a perfect square. It can be any number.
Yeah, but I was just trying to figure out how I'm going to write if it weren't a perfect square. I mean, it's easy when you say radius is 4, you just square it and the answer is 16. But if the radius was the square root of 23, which is the answer for the last question, then when I break that into a formula, I wasn't sure how to write it.
Now we're going to find the distance. The distance is the square root of x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square, which is a radical square root of 5 minus 3 square plus 10 minus 7 square. And if we do that, this is a square root of 13. So that is a distance. All right, let's take a 3-minute break.
You can go back to number
What do you say?
9. Number 9.
2, which is 8 over 2, 4, and 17 over 2.
Test 2 review
And
continued.
that is a midpoint.